Okay, so in the past, this used to be this thing where the Launchpad team, the bugs team would send grand bins, we'd put them in the center of the room, and throw rocks at him until the Launchpad team made features that we wanted, that he would like lie to us and still not ship them. So we decided to basically have every cycle a session or two, depending on what, we can have multiple sessions after this, on stuff that the Launchpad team can do to make upstream developers love it and work with us and do all that kind of stuff. So basically it's me here begging handsome Jono to give us the resources that we need. So normally we broke this down into like patches, bugs, and whatever. So quick show of hands, what do you guys want to discuss? I want to discuss patches and bugs. Anyone want to discuss translations?
And translations, maybe real quick, and also registry stuff.
Registry stuff, okay. What else?
Daily builds.
Daily builds would be great, okay.
Bugs and branches.
Bugs and branches?
But I'm actually a Launchpad developer, so I might be deeply very good.
Okay, so I already get the feeling we're going to have multiple sessions on this. But that's really great.
Cool. Is there going to be a Gobi document up on the screen?
I'll move some more back in.
Yeah, he's just setting it up.
Is there any chance we can talk about using external project managers with, like, as an upstream, we use a track and. All right.
Can you?
No, I'm gonna MC because I think so usually it's me like saying we need this, but now that we have upstreams here, I want them to talk. Where's Ryan Paul? I want you to be very opinionated here.
Okay.
So we have upstream authors here who actually use Launchpad every day, and I think it's important for us to find out what they want because we're always wondering what they want, and then we find that it's totally different than what we thought they want.
Make it faster.
Oh yeah.
That's actually so.
Make it faster.
I think I think that this is essential.
Oh, now everyone's gets all contentious. They make this thing called Memcache D.
So
That's the worst thing.
so just
George also identifies
Oh, yes. So who's on IRC that's participating?
slavery.
I see Sladen. That's a,
You're left there as well.
okay. Daily builds? External projects, I guess we'll just call it? Like
Sure.
working with track? Okay. What else?
Filtering on mails.
Mailing?
Dimensional translations as well.
Faster, pussycat.
I can filter on the first, but mail
Are
not
we?
blocks.
This is not the list of everything we want. This is the list of
What we're gonna
general
talk about.
topics.
Yeah.
There's Launchpad specific headers, but like an X list header or something.
Making it more social.
Yes.
I was afraid.
If someone says Facebook integration, I'm going to kick them.
Okay. So before this turns in, before this turns into Launchpad Wishathon, let's be clear that the focus for this session is going to be how to make this better for upstreams. So I love the social stuff too. And a developer does want a cool, I like your stuff. But I would much rather fix daily builds for you than mess with the social stuff right
Jim likes that.
Yeah.
Just for a list of topics to registry and translations, just so we can cover them real briefly. I only have small items there.
Okay, so registry and then one for translations.
can I? It might be worth me just doing like a couple of minutes of introduction about what we've
Absolutely.
done and what we've been
Absolutely.
doing. Hey, wow.
Introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
Cool. Hey, so my name's Jonathan Lang. I've been working on Launchpad forever, thousands of years before the beginning of time. I'm now the product strategist and for Launchpad, which means basically I talk about, think about, kind of help decide what features and stuff we actually do in Launchpad. If you want to see an example of some of my work, you can go to dev.launchpad.net/roadmap. This is like for all of you who are wanting to talk about the social stuff and like the performance things and all of that. Look at that webpage because that will show you what we've been doing. Thank you. So the first three items there that you can see there are the things that we've been working on pretty solidly recently. Making Launchpad faster, derivative distributions. This is something where we want to be able to get people, well, if you can read it yourself, and we're working on privacy. These are things that have been really important for some internal canonical stuff that we really want to get nailed and get done. We've also been working on software center support and better desktop integration.
You have a typo there.
It's a wiki, you can fix it.
It was a joke about center, sorry. Okay.
Oh, right. Sorry, it's a force of habit. And then if you scroll down even further, this is the sort of stuff that we're considering for doing in 2011. So I think this will kind of address some of the social aspects that people were talking about. This is all kind of blue sky, but these are our current plans. All open to change. But if you're ever wanting to know what our broad project overview stuff thinking plans are, that's the page to go to. I keep it relatively up to date. Our plans don't change very often.
Okay.
So just to inform the discussion and stop people from repeating themselves.
Okay, so let's start off, and then we'll figure out how much time we need for other sessions. So, patches. Patches.ubuntu.com is kind of broken.
Okay.
I don't have anyone to fix that.
It's also not managed by Launchpad.
It's also not managed by Launchpad. However, we have
this together.
Hold on. We have the patches view, which is kind of working. However, I need to be able to see all the patches that we've ever shipped and supported stuff. So if an Upstream says, I want to look at Shotwell, they see what patches we shipped in 10.04, what we shipped in 10.10, and then just be able to just grab it. And remember
You're using patch, in this case, the main.
that we ship in the Debian directory.
Patches.
Right.
Pro patches.
Yes, exactly.
Could we not use UDD for this sort of thing?
Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, right.
Or is that off topic for this?
There's a session in 2 hours.
Okay.
UDD as well.
So UDD can fix that problem for me.
Well, I
Eventually,
guess-
yes.
Eventually, yes.
UDD, it seems like UDD is more from our, like helping us manage those things. And, I'm obviously the world's biggest Bazaar fan, but you toss a Bazaar branch at Upstream people and they start screaming and yelling.
Yes.
and
Well, that's why we can have that
that's-
session at UDD for Upstreams, because that will be important.
So what, just to be clear, why do you want to have all of those patches available?
Because I think, and I've talked about this before with like integrating Harvest into Launchpad, Upstream authors are just sick of having to go accidentally find patches that someone ships because you happen to run into the guy at the bar, right? There should be a page that just says, launchpad.net/Ubuntu Shotwell, and it has, these are all the patches we've ever shipped. And by the way, we know Fedora and SUSE programmatically maintain this as well. Here are those patches as well. And here they all are as BZR branches if you want them to.
Sure.
Right? Oh, and here's your pristine trunk. Click this button and then we'll build this. Can we take those branches and spin off a daily build? All that kind of stuff.
Sure. It's motivating.
That's like 4 years of work. But
Question. So this is like dragging patches. I mean, from when you start submitting in Launchpad, you try to track the patch until it's submitted and keep history of it.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So tracking of patches is including in this topic. That means like, I have a patch, I want to submit it.
Okay.
Where is it in the progress, and now it's accepted.
So right now we do that by hand. Someone makes. Oh. Sorry, Slade. No, I'm not.
Okay. I've lost track of what the question is.
I don't, he's talking about, like, you're talking about through Ubuntu, right? Like tracking your patch that you submitted. I'm not sure that's necessarily on topic here.
It doesn't have to be Ubuntu only, any project in Launchpad. That's what
I think there's an aspect where we try to link a project registered in Launchpad to a package in Ubuntu so that we can see, we want to be able to say a patch in Ubuntu can be forwarded, is associated with this project, and we know who the upstream contact is so that they can get patches.
Well,
We don't have a system that automates forwarding that, but that is certainly something that we've considered in how we do this.
There are 2 ways you can do that. You can have a push system to push patches to people in their natural where I want to get patches placed, which is hard. Or you can have a pull system where you say, here are the places where you can get patches if you want to pull them.
And from the upstreams I've talked to, they don't want automatic patch forwarding. They want a human to check and vet it for quality.
Sure, sure.
So just make it easier for that person to do whatever it is needs to do.
When we're talking about automatic forwarding, it would be like into the queue they would be reviewing. It would not be like, committing it directly.
Yeah.
Sure. To answer Bila Lakhtar's question, yes, that would be a great thing. My hunch is that any solution in Launchpad which showed patches in Ubuntu would also kind of get you Debian for free, and there's no reason we would not do that because, yeah.
And that kind of brings me to my next subject.
Yep.
Here it is, Derek.
Okay.
I want the WBTS and or the GNOME stuff in Launchpad two-way sync.
Hell yes.
We've done it once, we can do it this time. Right?
But by two-way sync, you mean,
Exactly, Slater.
by two-way sync, you mean not bug watches that we do now, but you actually want like a local copy in Launchpad of all those
So I can do
packets.
leak detection,
Right.
I can do all the great Launchpad-y things, and then it syncs it with GNOME Bugzilla so that, we can find a duplicate earlier in the process as opposed to it goes through all our processes through the QA team and bug triaging, and then Pedro goes to GNOME Bugzilla 3 weeks later and it's like already there.
Yeah.
Good luck not going down the service again.
Yeah. I mean, to do that, we just have to get, on one level, it's simple, right? We just have to get a local copy of all those bugs. We already have Debian, a local copy of Debian.
Yes, but it hasn't been updated.
It is now up to date.
So-
It was down for a little bit due to disk space, but as of today, the local copy we have of Debian bugs should be up to date.
When did you do this?
2 weeks ago?
So we have all of, just so I'm clear,
Okay.
we have all of the BTS sitting in Launchpad right now.
No. We have a local copy on an internal machine.
Oh, so I can't use it.
Right.
Well, okay. That's what I mean by,
Right.
when I say run in Launchpad, this means deployed.
Right. I know that.
Okay.
But I'm saying there's pieces of it that are there, and we need to put
Right.
those pieces together. Right.
So, the give and take where we're gonna keep asking you stuff, can I prioritize this one as like my number one pet bug?
You can try. I mean, let me think about it.
I mean, it doesn't have to be all of them. Pick Debian or GNOME
Right.
or one of them.
Well, I think if we do it, we would do. It makes sense to do Debian and GNOME, right? I mean,
As Cat Stevens wisely put it, the first cut is the deepest. I mean, getting the getting the first one done is the hardest bit.
right.
Yeah.
Is
Someone's going down to.
I'm not meaning to seem resistant to the idea
Oh,
because
right.
I think it's an awesome idea and we should definitely do it, and we're stupid not to do it. We're not
Okay.
taking advantage of one of the beautiful things about Launchpad if we don't do it.
Right.
It's just how to turn like it as an abstract request into something that actually gets done, right?
full bug tracker syncing is basically what we're talking about here.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Rather
Yeah.
than just bug watches.
Right.
Something I'd very much like to see done.
Me too.
So
Whether I want to see it done before we get like decent dashboards and walls,
Right.
different question for me, but
Okay.
I can see why it's.
Okay, so can I at least get like a work analysis out of you this cycle? Or
Of course.
just give me a real, I mean.
Like how long it would take, what's involved, what
Yeah.
pieces are involved.
Let's at least say like let's spec it up, get requirements clear.
Right.
Not
Yes.
necessarily like a design, but like
Okay.
get requirements clear, get some idea of the work involved.
Okay, so can I do?
You can put that on me.
Right now.
Yeah.
So for whoever's
Maybe
taking
we'll
the
do
whoever's taking the work items, then Derek is my name, and I'll take and I'm actually DERYCK just to be anal. And I'm gonna
DERYCK.
yeah DERYCK.
There we go.
That's me. And I'll take an action item to spec out full bug tracker syncing. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do we, from the
All right.
platform side, I bring this up with that stakeholder thing?
Yeah.
Because, okay.
So for those who aren't in Canonical, one of the ways that Launchpads we're using internally to decide what work we do is getting a bunch of people from the Canonical stakeholder, like from different areas in Canonical, saying, hey, what do you want Launchpad to do? Because everyone actually has quite different needs. OEM are never going to ask us for the thing that George just asked us for, basically.
Right.
And you know, and Ubuntu ones certainly are never going to.
Right.
So we have this process where we just get everyone to say what they want, and we kind of just pick one.
Okay, so you basically told me no, I get that. Okay, bugs and branches?
Yeah.
That was my intent.
Sorry, I didn't mean, before we move on, I want to answer Sladen's question, which is the general upstream reception is mixed. People don't want to be flooded with Ubuntu users because, by and large, people who maintain bug trackers don't like users. And it's serious. And where the canonical copy of the bug comments live is a deep technical problem that we're not going to solve right now.
And I don't think that what we're asking for here is in terms of like two-way comments and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We have some form of that now. So what we're asking for now is we're asking more for the other things that we don't have, like duplication.
Yeah, I don't want us to have a copy of all of our junk bugs sent to the GNOME Bug Center.
Right.
I'm talking about the good stuff.
Yeah.
And the goal is to cut down on junk bugs, right?
Right,
Because a lot of them are dupes or covered somewhere else.
But mostly dupe detection, and we can also do some kind of patch
Syncing.
thing, right? Like if it detects one patch that also happens to be somewhere else.
Sure.
You know, that
And
kind of stuff.
I think as part of the spec, we want to try to make it so we can get there easily, right? So maybe that's what we do is say, okay, how do we get copies of it first, and then maybe take a first slice at like just
Yeah.
doing dupe detection
Yeah.
again.
Bust it up over amount of time or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, if I could just get dupe detection out of it.
That would be a huge step forward.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Now let's move on. Sorry.
Yeah.
So what I meant by bugs and branches is right now, when you file a bug and you add a patch, the bug follows history with the patches that are attached. So you add an attachment, you add a patch. Someone says, this patch doesn't quite do everything we want it to do, you send me an updated one. And someone says, sure, here's an updated patch. When you link a branch to a bug, you don't get that same conversation going on that you do with a patch. The branch changes, but the bug doesn't update when the branch has changed.
So you want like, so it says, when it says, you know, Georgia Sage status to opinion, something that would say, you know,
This branch is
Steve has committed.
Well, yeah,
you know,
the revision added to this
Yeah,
branch in
with
the
a change log
comments.
or something. Okay.
Right, with the commit message.
Is it really on topic for this particular discussion?
I don't know, well, Upstreams might want to, I guess I can see Upstreams that use Launchpad could use that because they could say, here, well, I fixed this bug, here in this commit. And
Well, that's zeitgeist. Do they want it?
It's a request that we've had before from Landscape, from some upstreams I'm associated with. What perhaps is more interesting to me in this context is a kind of related thing, which is let's just treat patches as merge proposals, which gives a stronger kind of control system and solves a lot of the problems that we're kind of working around now. That would be a wonderful thing to do. I can't reasonably promise that we'll start, that the canonical Launchpad team will start working on it, but it's something we'd totally be well happy to mentor someone doing. Like we'd love to encourage people to do that.
Okay, so just help wanted, and then George to do, get with Ravel about trying to help socialize that we want that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good call. Sorry, just looking at IRC. Hiding filtering bugs based on quality is an interesting and deeper discussion about dealing with junk bugs, dealing with the volume of bugs that we get. I'm not sure if this is the right session for that. I think there might be one later, but if there's not, we should have one. And by branches, we mean any branches, basically, but probably upstream primarily.
Did it used to work? Did I used to work?
Oh, George to help Matt Ravel socialize need for bugs and branches features. He works for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like,
Yep, it's cool.
we'll just do a podcast or something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we could also just generally use some help with developer community stuff. Like
Yeah.
we're kind of, it's kind of a thing that we don't have time, we don't have the energy to put into developer community stuff, so maybe there could be some.
But we'll work something out.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next? Man, the page is like scrolling. Great job on the notes, by the way.
Daily builds.
Daily builds, Shotwell.
Yeah,
What?
we would love to have daily bills.
Awesome.
And it sounds like right now it's still, and I haven't talked to George much about it. George approached us, I should background, about 2-3 weeks ago, saying, hey, we think we have a solution to get you guys daily builds. We have users that are building out of trunk, constantly using the freshest. It would be great if they didn't have to have all the build tools on their machine, if they could just subscribe to a PPA.
So what's blocking you from doing that now?
Me sitting down with a Shotwell person for 10 minutes and doing it.
So, yeah, but at the same time, speaking for other upstreams, it sounded like it's still kind of a catch-as-catch-can process. It doesn't sound like it's just push a button, say, here's my, here's our repository, here's the PPA, go to work. That's what I think.
So as an upstream, I'm not even pushing a button, it just happens every day. I get an email.
Also, just to be clear, as an upstream and one of the primary implementers of the daily builds feature on Launchpad.
I think some of the problem then here is you're thinking project, but we build archives on people, so you don't know how to make that connection.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
we should.
Yeah. And I can't make their PPA for them because I'm not part of their Shotwell Aqualon launch.
That's a long-standing confusion.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
we should fix that. Like Mark will let us if we fix it. It's one of these happy cases where what users want and what our business wants and what it's all in alignment. We just need to sit down and do it.
It's not a long-standing issue. It keeps getting pushed off, but I keep keeping it on a milestone because we really want to do this.
Right.
Okay.
So I will pull out all the old data and start talking to the community about what's the right thing to do to get a very quick, good solution to this with a long-term solution
Sure.
for the next year.
Yeah, it may just be better education, is what I think what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
So the PPAs for project, or archives for projects, is a thing we should do. There's some namespace issues there. It's not the only thing that's a problem with daily builds. Like the daily builds feature right now works, but it's pretty rough and unpolished, and you kind of have to know how it works before you can figure out how to use it, which is,
But once you do one, they're really easy.
yeah. So we're working on polishing it a bit more, but I reckon sitting down for 10 minutes will get you started at least, and we want to try to work for the next. We really want to make sure when we stop working on it that it's a polished, nice thing to use.
Right.
So now is the time to strike.
Hey, Rockstar, if you have time today, one of you guys sit down with them and then, I have the recipe. It's like 3 lines.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in track, so
Someone else will.
the import's working and everything.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, so Rockstar.
The Nest. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Nest part stuff hasn't landed on. It's not deployed yet, is it?
No, but
Why not?
It's because we were blocked on it getting onto the buildies, and
Didn't Lamont
Aaron
just make
has
a
landed
release?
the branch, it just hasn't actually,
Sorry, go on.
I thought that was done like yesterday by the law.
Lamont did it Monday.
Right.
So then we had to land a branch for Launchpad that updated BZR Builder and allowed us to use 0.3 recipes, because we had specifically written that you can't do that. So he landed that branch, so it should be landing, with our QA staging, it should be landing soon, right?
Cool, that'd be great.
Yeah. And I've actually grabbed the desktop Ken's branch for Shotwell from the desktop team sitting in BZR and just mushed it together with Trump.
Yeah,
This ain't gonna work. It just started spitting out devs.
Yeah.
It totally does work.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a pretty cool
Other
feature.
patches, as soon as they start to include patches, it's gone. Sometimes they patch.
As long as you're following Trunk rather closely in a development release, it works. Yeah, like if you go in there and ask it to build on Lucid, no, it's not gonna do that because you need a newer version to follow that what's in Lucid and all that stuff. But generally speaking, you can grab most of our packaging stuff, apply it to tip of Trunk from a pure upstream, and I haven't seen it fail yet.
Would it be possible to add a feature to the recipe to, let's say, remove patch directory?
I think a better, that would be a cool thing to do. But I think that more of the intent is that people make packaging branches that just don't have patches, and then then have a second packaging branch based on that does have the patches,
Yeah.
and so the recipe
And
can
of
be
course
that
we-
pure, pristine packaging branch.
Yeah. Like we've
Yeah.
talked about this before. We have the Ubuntu build, the pure vanilla Upstream build that, Upstream wants to be tested, We can do it however we want.
Yeah.
It's just getting the resources to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's also something that we're mad keen on, and
Yeah.
we're still working on that.
Okay. So, next.
We don't know what's on the top of the page.
External projects is what's
Yeah,
after
external projects.
daily builds.
Hey,
Right.
external projects.
So we, now that we're in Maverick, Shotwood and Maverick, we're getting more and more reports coming through Launchpad. But we run our own track server, and we find that we're spending a great deal of time taking the bugs in Launchpad, moving them to our track server to prioritize them properly so we can track them, or triaging the bugs in Launchpad, assigning our track ticket to the Launchpad so that they're synced. It's a very manual process. I don't have I can't say I've come with any brilliant technical idea for automating this, but
We have a track plugin, don't we?
We do.
yeah, it does recognize, like once it's been linked, it is following.
Yeah.
It's not quite perfect. There's an additional stage in our internal process where when a bug is marked as fixed, Launchpad recognizes it as fixed.
Right.
And then we have someone who says, oh, this bug has been verified, which means it is truly closed according to the testing. Once it goes to verified, Launchpad
Gets
says
confused.
unknown status. And that's a minor technical thing.
Right.
The real reason I want to bring this up is I feel like we're spending a lot of time getting Launchpad and our track synchronized, just to associate the tickets in the first place. And it's already pretty good. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of steps, but it's quickly becoming obvious that this is going to only grow
Right.
as
And what you want is you want the bugs that come into Launchpad to just automatically flow up to your track and let you
that
do
would
your
be
work.
fantastic. I don't know how to do that, but that would be great.
That's what Sandy wanted too. He's like, hey, just
Right.
send them all to me. I'll handle it. Remember we thought Upstreams would never want that, but
Right. Bryce has actually done some work to get us the first little piece of that happening. Bugzilla, right? But as John says, once you get the first.
Yeah, and I had a question. You mentioned the verified state
Yeah.
was not working correctly. Is that within the last 2 months? Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Okay. I put in a text, but I think it was only for Bugzilla.
Okay.
I went through all the bug reports that have been filed about missing status.
Great.
Correct status.
But at this point, because of having worked on that, if you and he talk for 2 minutes, it's probably a trivial fix to
It
line
is,
them
that's
up.
pretty easy.
And I have to admit, I haven't filed a bug against Launchpad. I should have done that. So I'll keep that in mind.
it's okay. He doesn't read them anymore.
There's also,
I don't read them.
so there are things that we've talked about. Yeah, I don't read. The things that we don't, things we've talked about this in the past is the kind of auto sed feature, which
Right.
which is not so much.
Pedro button.
Yeah, the pedal button. Click a button and then forward this bug upstream. So doing that manual copying work. And then there's the other thing, which is just the floodgate kind of stuff. Yeah, they're both good ideas. I wish we had a shortage of good ideas.
Well, and on that front, I think there's so many people asking for that because, there's lots of people that want some flavor of bug forwarding.
Yeah.
How I'm approaching that on my team right now is just to try to get little pieces of it, like Bryce worked on a little chunk of it, right? We're just trying to get little pieces of it. That doesn't give us hope that in a year we're going to have what you want, right?
Can we even do a dirty hack where like we set whatever the track email interface is as the bug contact and
I'm resistant to dirty hacks just because we've had some dirty hacks in Launchpad's history, and those get you a short-term gain, but then you pay. That's partly why Launchpad is slow to develop now because we've done a lot of dirty hacks. And
Part of the reason why it's slow too.
right.
Hacks are usually permanent.
Yeah. So I would rather not do that. Sorry to be a party pooper.
Where government austerity measures, we're cutting back. It's that kind of thing.
But Launchpad's too big to fail. Is what you're saying.
Hey, if long term that gives me a faster Launchpad, then
Okay.
Can I ask a question for your bug forwarding?
Yeah.
Do you find that copying the attachments from Launchpad into your bug tracker is something that you spend a lot of time on?
No, we don't even do that.
Okay.
We'll put a link on our ticket to the Launchpad ticket and maybe put a note that, hey, someone attached a patch or there's some sample data.
What do you find is in that process is the biggest time?
It's the triaging. It's someone reporting a bug and then us going into our ticket database going, oh, we already have a ticket for that. Then going back to the Launchpad saying, yes, we know about that, we have a ticket for that. We like to put a comment in because we're afraid to just sort of use this affects another project feature. I mean, that's great, that creates the automatic link, but we want the user to get a message that says, hey, this has already been ticketed here. I think kind of the problem is that track is where we do, that's our universe.
Yeah.
That's where we do most of our work. But we respect the Launchpad users, we want them to be involved. But the other thing that's in the back of my head is, once it's in our database, that's where all of our conversation goes on, for the most part, unless we're working directly with the reporter on Launchpad, in which case we'll go there. But one concern I have is that now that it's in track, we're sitting there saying, okay, we need to do this, we're getting a patch from somebody else and all that. And the user who filed the original Launchpad report has no clue that there's any movement going on.
Right. So it sounds like there's two.
That's a separate problem, technically, yes.
Well, they're all interrelated.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's two features though that you need. One is from the Launchpad bug, searching in your track for a matching bug. So I think that goes back to
That's what George is asking.
and I had a summer code student that worked on that particular problem.
Oh, great.
Came up with a patch, but we didn't get into Launchpad. But yeah, that's one feature that's needed. And the other one is the back message. So once you forward it to the Codezilla or track or whatever, getting a comment appended to Launchpad bug, and as far as I know, that's not a solved problem yet, and I have not seen it.
Maybe that should be a per comment feature where the user gets to decide, I want this comment to go upstream or the other way around. And that would be a...
Well, we have the two-way comment syncing with Bugzilla.
We don't have it for track.
No, this is
If we had it for track,
official
it would-
linking.
Oh, okay.
So it's syncing goes on
You have
afterwards.
some-
Yes.
Comment syncing stuff works okay afterwards.
Does anybody else look at the track plugin? It's not developed like canonical, but
Right. I have no idea what it would take to make the track plugin do comment syncing. That's essentially what you're asking.
Yeah,
the description basically says something like this plugin allows launchpad bugs against your project to be pushed to your track instance and subsequently updated. So I'm not sure if subsequently updated includes comments.
I don't think
I
it
don't,
does.
so.
No,
I
it
haven't
doesn't. We
seen
only
it.
do comment syncing.
I haven't
with
seen any
Bugzilla.
comments. There's actually a third one, if I'm going to throw out my
It's
wish
your
list.
session, baby.
Yeah, it would be that the other half of the triaging is getting a bug report, going into our track database, going, oh, we don't have this ticketed, generating a new ticket, internally doing the link, as I've mentioned, and then we take the user report, we manually copy and paste some of it into our own, and then at that point, it's like I mentioned before.
That piece may, if you go through the also effects, at least for Bugzilla, there's a link and it's not really obvious.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't show up, I'm not sure why. But you click on it and it pre-fills the Bugzilla bug filing form with, I think it puts in the description, it puts in the product. I'm putting in some changes so I'll put the component, some other information. So it probably doesn't get anything, but it might get most of what you're looking for.
And where's that link? I'm not sure I understand where that.
Well, that requires the person, still requires some effort on someone on the Launchpad bug to make that happen, right? And I think that's what you're saying is you would like to avoid that. You would just like if a bug's filed against the package and
Well, there's a
He
difference
wants the
between
paper
I
button.
have to copy and paste and fill out these items and a one button, take me to my track, it's filled out, I look it over and hit submit.
Yeah, that would be huge right there. That would be, I mean, it doesn't, I mean, yeah, the best possible world is I don't have to do anything, it just magically shows up.
Right.
But I know
if
that-
you could get the stuff
yeah,
filled
but
out.
if it was that kind of thing, that would be big. The thing I'm getting at here is there's a lot of time I spend every day triaging bugs already in our track database, but now I've got this separate bug database, and that's turning into a bit of an administration.
Well, see, that's, in the upstream contact stuff I was talking about, is we should be that filter for you.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I mean, that's a major goal for me this cycle, is to grow that project. So, to do George to work specifically on getting an upstream contact for shop.
I think we need it. It sounds like there's a lot of stuff here where we need some form of a to-do, which will be on me, obviously, about trying to get, our track support is obviously lacking compared to our Bugzilla support. So I think some of these things we already do for Bugzilla, if we would, maybe it gets into a spec again, just trying to figure out what would be required to get track support on par with Bugzilla support.
Yeah. Bryce sort of had a working prototype for X. Remember you showed it last time that it did a pre-fill thing? Maybe, since there's only one of you, maybe if we could just dirty hack something.
Well, that's what I mean by we're trying to get pieces of that all along.
Yeah.
That's what he's been working on, is to get it in the Launchpad. But again, it's only for Bugzilla, right? So we need to correct some of the disparity between our Bugzilla support and our track support.
You know, I know that our time is limited. Maybe we could talk after the session real briefly, and sort of work on. That'd be great.
Definitely.
Okay, next.
Registry. Oh, I just had one real.
Oh, George, before we go on, I just want to mention the CGI prototype that I mentioned. One of the other things that someone code student did is added an ability to automatically copy selected attachments from
Like say
from Launchpad to Bugzilla, which is totally awesome.
Yeah. That's really great. That's cool. Okay, registry.
Just one real thing, small thing is, I have unstable releases building up to a final stable release, like follow GNOME schedule. And whenever I release a tarball of this unstable release, that's shown as the last tarball that my project released, like the recommended tarball for users that were coming to me.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice if that didn't happen.
Right.
If there was some kind of concept of an unstable release branch. I mean, there is, but you know, tarball-wise.
Yeah. So the green button.
Yes.
Yeah, the big green button on the right that says download this, please.
There's actually a conflict between the green button and the plus downloads page, and that you can't even safely set a Debian watch onto it. We actually don't have an answer for this because their communities or projects are using them differently, and we have not resolved everyone's differences. What's going on is we fix for one people and break for the next people.
But you mark a series as current stable or active development.
Active development, what we intend to report is active development only.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
What that is, the intent of that is for what's active development only. So the unstable is what we would expect to be showing up there.
I guess the thing is the different projects mean different things by active development.
That's right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that's the unstable for them. I'll go ahead and raise my hand, it's not my fault, it's my student project leaders, but our definitions of the way we're using some of those terms is maybe different than how some other people are using, so that the thing that may show up there may or may not be the right thing.
It certainly isn't, because for many people also might only care about what's being released to users. Because we don't have a canonical definition of what who the feature is for, and and what their needs are, we've never really built a way to say, give me the software, which might be code, it might be installers, it might be packages, it might be a tarball. From my understanding, I believe a tarball is really only useful to someone who makes packages.
No. It's also useful.
Depends what it is.
Useful to people
It's just
who have to work with
pictures
unpackaged
and
software or poor devils.
Yeah, for me, like, I do PPA and that's great. So Ubuntu users have that solution, but for everybody else, I don't make an RPM for them. I don't.
Yeah.
So the only solution is the tarball.
Yeah.
And that's where the case of the problem. So this has been, there's a constellation of bugs, roughly 25, around this issue. And it comes down to, until we have these use cases gathered and organized so that we can make a simple story for each user, we're not really solving the problem. What we've done is, we've allowed about half a dozen people to speak on this and actually change the code, then what happens is they always step on someone else. So I understand the problem, but it's been difficult getting it fixed, but it is also one of the items I've tagged for our future milestones to address.
Yeah, one thing I guess I'd add to that is that the Launchpad project page isn't very good. And one of the ways it's not very good is that it conflates, it's trying to be a page for the people who will hack on that project and trying to be a page for the people who use that project, and also trying to be a page for Kiko. And it doesn't really work in any of those things. And we've been thinking, well, and we've been thinking, I guess we've been thinking about the fact is it's not a very good page for controlling your shop front for your project, which is kind of what you're talking about. There's a whole bunch of stuff there, and I'm sorry.
SourceForge wanted to separate those concepts entirely.
Yeah, and I think we will soon. We will eventually too. I hope next year we'll split that out. But I don't know how much control we'll allow for the shop front stuff.
Yeah.
I think we might end up making Launchpad more oriented towards the people who hack on the project. Maybe. Still up in the air. But for example, I know someone who's trying to get us to stop having Ubuntu answers. Stop having answers for Ubuntu because it's a feature about user-developer interaction. Anyway, but
We can talk about that on Friday.
yeah.
That's all I had on the industry.
Cool. Thanks.
What's next? Translations.
Also mine. And then actually, I'm going to add an answers one after this. So translation is real easy. It works great for me. I love it. The recommended team to set the Ubuntu translators. I feel like they could use more evangelization. I feel like they're smaller than they should be.
Is it the Launchpad translators team or?
Yeah.
Right. So it's a community that is in development. Nobody's actively working on driving it forward too much. It's basically just something that happens.
Yeah, that's my complaint.
Isn't that? I thought DPM was kind of doing that.
He does. Is it here? No. He does do some of it, but I mean, he's mainly driving the Ubuntu translators project, which is much more active and
I see. Right.
much better regulated and things like that. The Launchpad translators project is just a way to get some control over translations without, getting the full mess that you would get with open translations.
Right.
And it actually has a lot of problems. Some of them are, many different upstream projects when they start using Launchpad want to integrate their existing translators. And that proves to be very difficult into existing Launchpad translators teams as well, because they already might have processes in place, they already have reviewers in place and things like that. So it's not a perfect solution to the problem, it's just a stopgap solution. We would ideally like to come up with something better, but we don't have the time to do that ourselves, and if anybody has any good ideas, we're happy to hear them.
No ideas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next.
If I can add my answer.
Oh, sorry.
Sladen, just out of curiosity, do you file bugs through the website or through email?
And I thought you could turn them back from answers. Even I thought that was a two-way conversion.
No.
No.
It's not a conversion, it's a link.
Yeah.
The fact that you get email on an invalid bug that generally is not on the project is insane.
Yeah.
You have to retarget it to a fictitious project to end the pain.
Yeah, really.
Well, so there are two things. I guess there are two things you've got on Sladen on that thing. One is that you don't think that we who run the Launchpad project are doing right by you with your bugs, which is sorry. Feel free to talk with us in #Launchpad dev about that. And the second thing is a bug in answers, which you should file and hope that it doesn't get turned into an answer. Thanks.
Okay, now you had a thing about, speaking about answers.
Yeah, okay, so answers. So I get support requests on that, which is great, because that's what it's for. But I would like, so in my bug page, file a bug page, you let me specify instructions for how to give like a log file and shit, and that's great. That often gets followed, surprisingly. And I want that for answers too, because the log. I guess, yeah. Well, instructions that at least that they could paste in a giant log or attachments would be nice, because the log is useful for support requests too, and often when it becomes a bug, I would need that log, and it's awkward to ask them again to go through the log.
That sounds like a really good
Okay, that is an
follow
awesome idea.
question.
So yeah, actually, I guess attachments and instructions are the two pieces of that.
Yeah, attachments, hey. Do you know what?
I know a tool that can do all of that. For answers.
No, it's just,
By tomorrow.
so the thing I really want is, we've got like a Launchpad kind of design thing, I guess, is that we've got lots of pages that have comments and attachments and things, and they should all behave exactly the same way. And getting people to, the fact that merge proposals have comments that behave slightly differently to bug comments, for example, is a bit of a nightmare.
We have more than 15 bugs where users know we've screwed up. They want
We have
to want
6,500 bugs where users know we screwed up.
We have users are reporting, why doesn't this look like bugs? Why doesn't this one look like the merge?
Sure, sure.
They need it to be the same.
Yeah, I'd love to see us do that consolidation work. We should do it.
Okay, how
We're running out of time. Is the bot?
One issue,
Can I do-
time paper cuts. We have new contributors.
Yep.
Maybe fixing bugs, let these paper cuts and we'll say, what else?
Yes.
And then just say, what else can I fix? But there's no specific place I can say, these are all the milestone bugs for the next release. I didn't know till now. It took Pedro 5 minutes to find this link. It took him to find the milestones link.
Oh, yeah.
This link it's not prominent anywhere. Is it possible to keep it like at top level somewhere?
It can be restored. It was removed for the timeline, and I agree. I would like to see it back. And I
You could probably
put
put
it back.
that,
It's trivial. It can be done next week or today.
Hey, commit that to a work item, please.
Yeah.
Not that I don't trust you, but we're here to make work
And
items.
I like trivial bugs. They give me good karma.
another thing, can we add the paper cuts milestones to that? Can No, it's not me. we add the paper cuts milestones?
Who?
Paper cuts milestones, right? Right now it's only Maverick updates, Alpha 1, Maverick Alpha 4. It's like that. Can we even add the paper cuts milestones to that?
I'm not sure. The link, the plus milestones page should be, that link used to be where the timeline is on the project page. So when you go there, that link should be prominent to show what the milestones are. But are you asking, do you want the current milestones to be shown on the page?
Yeah, the paper cuts milestones on the page as well.
They used to be, again, they were replaced by the timeline. I'm not going to say no, I need to look at how the code has changed, because right now we do a lot of processing. Milestone processing is one of our leading timeouts, and I hesitate to promise it until we fix the performance. But I will take that as a work item.
Yes.
Yes.
Making Launchpad faster actually means we have to do less of other things.
I think he was just saying he'll take the one you already.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was taking the.
Oh, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad at all.
That's a whole other long process.
So I think,
What other sessions are we having?
so where do you guys want to dive in deeper for this? Because to be honest, I care about patches and bugs, and given your
Well, the
prior-
UDD session.
Yeah, so I'll attend the UDD one, and given the priority of your roadmap and stuff, I'm content basically waiting until what I want, it becomes a priority for you.
Sure.
So at this point, I don't really care what you guys talk about.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Sure.
who wants to investigate taking these deeper discussions? I mean,
It looks to me like we might not need sessions for anything
Yeah.
that we talked about. Like it's all relatively well known.
yeah,
stuff
it just looks like,
that can be
a few-
resolved in corridor chats.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right, so everyone feel good about this then? Anyone have any burning issues or complaints?
I just have a minor thing.
Yeah.
The only way I find a filtering mail from Launchpad is by comment, looking for you are receiving this mail because you are member of group X.
You know
Please,
what about-
please get a review header.
I-
There is.
There is just an X. Yeah, but try Gmail.
Please.
No, that's a Gmail limitation.
Yeah, okay, so do you have, so you're saying nobody uses Gmail?
So there are two things. So one is we know that about 60% of our users have Gmail accounts.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we're actually, like, we're doing features to help Gmail users even today.
Really?
Yeah, so the
Bug team has been not doing any other
so
work.
there are two
than
things
this.
there are two things we're doing to help Gmail users, right? One is we're doing DKIM support, the DKIM support, so that you don't have to sign your emails if they come from Gmail, because we just trust that Google has got your authentication right. Secondly, we're doing better controls for filtering emails from bugs on the website.
You guys can send me predetermined labels of bugs mine, bugs subscribe to.
Well, can I do like a minute on what we're...
Sure. Whoa. Be quiet, let Derek talk.
Can I do a minute on, because this is like one of the most requested things for Launchpad bugs is better filtering or better management of all the mail. So let me tell you what we are doing, okay? So what'll happen in probably 2 or 3 weeks, you'll start seeing this stuff appear, because we've been working on it for 6 months, is for a bug or for a project, when you subscribe, you'll now have a level of notification that you can subscribe to. So you can say, I don't want to know anything but the life cycle of the bug, so when it's open and when it's closed, I get an email, okay? You can say, then the next level will be give me any metadata changes on the bug, so status, importance, those types of changes. Then the next level will be, give me the flow, comments, everything for the bug or for a project. Then you'll also be able to subscribe to a search. So you can say, you can go in the advanced search features and you can say, let me craft a search for all high bugs that have been assigned to Derek. And then you can get a subscription for just those type of things. So pretty much anything that you can search on, you could get a subscription for those things. So you should be able to pretty well configure your bug mail in any way you want it to be.
But that doesn't actually help me, because I want to filter it on my end. I want to be able to see, we get to mail, but sort of read it on my leisure.
We can't improve your mail user agent for you. We can't improve your mail user agent for you.
I mean, you can like add an X list header or send it.
No, because we're not going to abuse the mail format.
Yeah, but
and break all the people who've got real mail.
Let me tell you this: why am I getting it to address to me? It's not actual to me; it's to the bug.
There's a
every
time we change
because if you actually
complaints.
sent, if the two header actually sent that it was to the bug, I could filter it because it's not to me.
Yeah.
I'm just getting as a.
It's a Gmail limitation. I dump it all into one big folder, and it's the best I can do. You can't just arbitrarily.
I mean, I sort of conceptually agree with you. The mail is to the bug, it's not to me.
Yeah, but
the mail is to the team, and it's not to me.
I agree completely with you. It's a hard thing for us to solve because everybody on Launchpad, you two agree about that. I agree with you.
Yeah.
We're one class of people. There's another class of people that say, no, it's coming to me personally in my email format. I want it to me.
But they're wrong.
There is,
They say we're wrong.
there is also an issue here that it's inconsistent between different Launchpad apps, which at least everybody can be happy about something, right?
Right. Yeah. There's got to be one app doing it the way you want it.
We've got to wrap the session up. Sorry, Sladen, that's a great. Can you ask that question on the Launchpad users mailing list? Like, it's kind of there's a reasonable amount of discussion to go on that. If you're talking about what can you do today, we don't have time to talk about it now, basically.
I missed the question. What is it?
Is the question
First class Git.
well, there are two things. One is what is Launchpad going to do about first class Git support, and what can you do today about working with Git and Launchpad? And those are two different questions.
Okay.
We import them.
We import from Git.
Only the master branch.
And if somebody goes out
No, we're fixing something.
I was going to say, I thought somebody was fixing
Yes,
that.
we've committed to fixing it.
Yeah, there is.